which I did now for my PhD study, which actually I will have tomorrow morning exam. Yay! Training. So, what is VJing? We had this question here today, and actually I want to thank you, Elena, for your nice talk. And actually it goes nice together because we started with live cinema and what is live cinema, and I will end with live cinema because when I started to think about what is VJing, so the first thing what came in my mind was that a VJ needs a projector. So VJ is a projector. So my journey was like a historical perspective of the projected image, how it came to now. And the second part of the talk was a philosophical perspective, where I tried to define some terms through which we can actually theoretically grasp the process of VJing. So, I will also try to DJ when I'm speaking, so really crashing down. Maybe not. This was the first picture which I presented in the thesis, and it's actually a photograph of VJ's screensaver in 2010, VJ from Krasova. And I started to ask what is VJing, so I came to VJing theory, which we spoke about. And actually, the description of VJing was that the thing is the real-time interaction. It is very close to live cinema and to video art, but in the sense of VJing is the real-time performance actually on the first time. So I tried to define VJing in the term of real-time performance. Because now, as you said, that VJing is so many styles and kind of processes, it's very hard to define it as one form and one genre. So actually we can find experiments with dealing of new media in a really kind of wrong way. So therefore, the thesis was actually about VJing without VJing. But let's start with the historical journey. And the historical journey starts in Asia with the shadow theater called Punctum, which is actually a very ancient, old tradition in Asia. And the first source of a projector medium was a candle. So they use candles to project shadows and to do a narrative for that. And when we ask what is a projection medium, we come to the idea that actually light, which is the source of the projection, is also a deep metaphor of seeing, the deep metaphor of philosophical, theoretical answers, what is actually that what we see. And the sun was actually the first projection medium. And the metaphor is that the sun gives us light that we see. But when we look in the sun, we see nothing. So this is the big paradox of how we see and what light actually let us see. In Europe, it was actually much later when they invented a magic lantern. It was in the 17th century. Actually, thoughts about camera obscura we can find also by Aristotle and Leonardo da Vinci. They had philosophical candle, so the first camera obscura was working with the candle light. Then we have in the 18th century phantasmagoria, which actually invented H.T. Gaspar Robinson, I think. And the difference between phantasmagoria and the magic lantern is that the magic lantern was hidden from the audience. So he created a complete new illusion of images of what the people could see and what was real and what was illusion. He also declined in this time that he has always doctors at the performances, because at that time people, it was something like you never saw that, but also some heart attacks and some kind of physical reactions appearing to the people when they have to deal with something which they never saw before. The next technical apparatus is the diorama, created by Daugier, or how it is called, Daugier, in the beginning of the at the end of the 18th century. And the diorama was new because it brought a completely new architecture into the image. This is what you can see what was in France, and behind is a wall, but the diorama, the manipulation with light intentions and projections, gave the illusion that there is a second place in the church, but it wasn't really the place where it was dominated by the diorama. At the beginning of the 20th century, Daugier patented his daguerreotype, which was actually the first apparatus which could photograph pictures, and this is one of the first pictures with a person on it, made by Daugier and I think, I don't know the year, but it was the beginning of the 20th century. You can see only one person, and the Paris day traffic, you cannot see that because the exposure time was so long that everyone who was moving disappeared on the photo. So the only person who was standing long enough there to get catched is there. I think he lets his shoes. After the daguerreotype came the kinematograph, patented by the brothers Lumières in the year 1980. And the first kinematograph was actually a multi-functionalistic apparatus which could shoot, copy, and project films in one. The first films which the brothers Lumière made were actually not films, because you have to imagine that at these times the media of film wasn't real. And the first films they made were actually real documents about real life of people. You can see that the camera is static. And they film like normal people going from work. So film wasn't at that time actually known. I will not speak about the film itself. I will go directly to the Lumograph, which is an invention made by Oskar Fischinger in the 40s. This is a photo of the Lumograph, and it was actually a color organ. It was actually an apparatus to make visual music. Visual music as a concept came in the early 20th century, actually, with the electricity. It was like a new revision from it. But the color organs we know also from the Victorian age, like philosophical choice also like zooscopes, praxinoscopes. So it were always like experiments with the visuals, experiments with what we can see and what is possible to see. These were the 40s. And in the 70s, like Elina said, was Jin Youngblood writing his famous expanded cinema. And in the 70s also video art, like autonomous artistic form started to go its way or to expand also. In the time when video art became actually a part of the artistic expression and became a part of this is Namjoon Paik, I think everybody knows him, with his installation with the television distortion signal. And when video art became a part of museums and big galleries, at the same time, for me, actually, in New York, in the club scene, in the clubs, a VJ appeared who wanted to distinguish himself from the video artist. At that point, that he works real time, that he creates his picture on the spot and in interaction with music and also with the audience. So, this was the first part of my diploma thesis, the trajectory of the projected image, how it became an autonomous art, and the second part was the philosophical part, and I tried to define three, actually were four, but I will speak today about three terms in new media philosophy, which is performativity, mediality, and gesture. I won't speak about the theoretical aspects of performativity in linguistics because we don't have the time for it. But what is interesting for us that DJing opens a new space of performativity because the picture, as I said, and the images are made real time. The real time creations of the image makes actually the act of the creation performative, because the VJ can spend hours preparing this visual material, but at the spot and the end we always get somehow into the music and into the mood of the people. So at the spot the creation of the image becomes a part of the performative act of itself, and becomes a part of the time and space, and becomes of the part of, I don't know how to say, but a communication between more layered reality. So when we want to reflect it theoretically with the linear type of the language, we always get stuck because the language is not performative